won his top 4 set and his top 8 set. And Justin did the same on stream, but this is only Justin's second time,
Yeah.
I think, on stream here.
I believe so. I remember we saw him earlier today, but I can't remember us seeing it again because I always remember Whimsicott because Whimsicott's one of my favorite mods this format.
Yeah. So Justin's got a bit of a team here. Last we saw him, he was playing Nathaniel Sittler, and he used the Whimsicott and Tapu Koko combination to great effect there. And as well as Tapu Fini saw some action, and Celesteela, of course, doing Celesteela things.
Celesteela is always just to sit there and just wall for days. And Jake White, who we just saw, was running a Double Ducks team. Oh, and it looks like we're almost ready to just hop right into it.
All right, and they're just going in. All right, going ham. We all want to go home. Let's go.
Exactly, right?
All right. So Jake Pelipper, Tapu Koko, Sarina, Crocodile, Golduck, and Alolan Muck.
And Justin with Whimsicott, Celesteela, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, Garchomp, and that Tapu Koko.
All right, so that Sarina might actually see some use finally, thanks to Whimsicott being a priority, I guess a priority user.
Yeah.
Like, exclusively. And Sarina blocks any kind of that.
Yeah, so that's one thing you have to consider if you're Justin, that if he does bring that Sarina, your Whimsicott is largely going to be useless.
As long as Sarina is hitting the field, Jake will have the advantage as long as Whimsicott is one of those Pokemon. And of course, Dropkick actually doing a bit of decent work here too. Garchomp doesn't like having its attack lowered, and Tapu Koko will take a decent amount of damage even though it's not weak to it.
And Tapu Fini also taking a good bit.
To it, yes. But these two are just going to go at it. They know each other pretty well. They kind of have a handle on what they want to do. We're just going to see how they do it.
All right, I'm excited to see how this game plays out. All right, as we see Justin leading with that Tapu Koko and Whimsicott.
As Jake leads Crocodile with Pelipper. Very interesting. So Crocodile also is immune to all of Whimsicott's attacks thanks to the Dark typing's passive to ignore Prankster boosted moves.
Yeah, so right now I think that Crocodile's sitting pretty well right now. Doesn't have to worry about Thunderbolts, has to worry about Dazzling Gleams, but I mean, when you're immune to like half the attacks that your opponent's Pokemon go to, you have to be thinking, I'm not doing too bad right now.
Yeah, barring a Fairy MZ, which we know is not the set that Justin is running, Crocodile is definitely posed to take a lot of health away from Justin right now. And with that Sash, Pelipper is also ready to throw up a Tailwind or like do damage with Hurricane, Scald or Brine, something like that.
Yeah. If nothing else, as you said, he could match that Tailwind and just maybe be able to get rid of that Whimsicott, all of its usefulness right away.
Alright, and we see that Tapu Koko go for a Protect here. Doesn't want to take that Tech Rage or anything like that. Set up Tailwind here for the Whimsicott. That's almost all it can do, as Earthquake comes out, hits into that Protect, and does a bit of damage to the Whimsicott.
Alright, and let's see what that Pelipper is able to do here.
Alright, Pelipper gonna go for the Hurricane, just get rid of him. And Whimsicott is down for the count. He did his job, it threw up the Tailwind. But as long as Jake can stall out, he can still have this game in the bag.
Yeah, if I'm Justin though, I'm honestly not super disappointed with that turn, because sometimes you just want your Whimsicott to get there, set up the Tailwind, get out of the way so my strong attacking mons can come in.
Yeah, I would suspect something like either Garchomp or Tapu Fini coming in here could definitely help out Justin's position. But with one early KO, Jake is kind of in a good position.
Alright, as we see that Garchomp come in for Justin.
Alright, and Crocodile here still looking pretty okay. Doesn't want to take Tectonic Rage from Garchomp for sure, because that plus Dazzling Gleam will take it out for sure.
Absolutely.
But if that happens, then Pelipper does get an opportunity to set up Tailwind.
Alright, as we just see that Dazzling Gleam coming out from that Koko doing a good amount of damage to both of the Pokemon on Jake's side of the field.
And there's the Life Orb, and here comes Dragon Claw. Gonna take out the teleport here. So this is a free attack for Jake's Crocodile, and that's going to be an Earthquake. Probably into a KO on this Tapu Koko, since Crocodile was not intimidated.
Yeah, so it is rough losing your Tailwind setter, but I mean, if you have your Golduck in the back, maybe it's not too bad. But right now, that Crocodile's at pretty low HP, staring down a Tailwinded Garchomp.
But I think it did its job. It was able to take that Dazzling Gleam, fire back with a very strong Earthquake, and now Justin's going to have to rely on these last two Pokemon to win the game here, while Jake still has 3.
Alright, as we see the Tapu Fini come out for Justin, and the Golduck for Jake.
And yeah, Golduck is in range, so it could still outspeed that Tapu Fini, and Garchomp is definitely within range of either Ice Beam, definitely Hydro Vortex,
and maybe a Hydro Pump.
Maybe Hydro Pump. I wouldn't use that here. You still have that Z move, and it's not like it's going to help you versus the Tapu Fini. So might as well just use it in the Garchomp this turn if you can.
Why risk it at this point?
Crocodile having done its job, I expect to see it going down this turn. Possibly a Protect from Golduck here, but actually no. He's going to save the Crocodile here. Here is Tapu Koko. Gonna reset terrain back to electricity.
Maybe wanting to preserve it for the Intimidate later onto that Garchomp. As we see the Golduck go for Protect.
There's a Protect there. Making sure it doesn't take damage. An Earthquake from Justin's Garchomp. No Protect from Tapu Fini. This is gonna be pretty big. That's a good call. Yeah, knocking out Tapu Koko entirely, but doing a hefty chunk to the Tapu Fini as well.
Yeah, that's a rough amount of damage to do to your own Pokemon, so maybe indicating that his Garchomp is in fact maybe one of the choice. Oh no, it revealed Dragon Claw just a second ago. Never mind, ignore me.
Yeah, so perhaps not carrying any choice items, but for sure not carrying that Z Crystal. Otherwise, that was a prime area to use it. Unless Justin just on a whole different level and decided to save that Z Crystal.
Yeah, really fake him out.
But Golduck is looking to be in a pretty good position. Garchomp still within range of getting hit by Ice Beam or Hydro Pump, but there's another turn of Tailwind to worry about here.
Yeah, and that Golduck might not be faster than that Garchomp.
Here comes Earthquake one more time. It's definitely enough to take out Crocodile, but is it enough to take out Golduck? Definitely not.
Ooh,
a critical hit on the Pokemon that was about to go down anyway.
So it doesn't really matter here, but we just see the Watarian Z coming out from that Golduck.
If this is into Tapu Fini, which it should be, Jake probably has the game locked and loaded. But if he targets the Garchomp instead, Tapu Fini gets a very, very large Moonblast.
Yeah, so I think we have to see that go into the Fini and do enough damage to pick up the KO here.
But in rain, I'm pretty sure it can do the job.
Yeah.
So Tapu Fini is going to go down. Those partnered Earthquakes were not very friendly to it at all.
Yeah, I think Justin pretty much just put himself in range of that. I don't know. Looking back, I guess the Earthquake was not the correct play there.
Yeah, maybe something else like throwing out a Rock Slide or another Dragon Claw. Although Dragon Claw is a lot slower at doing the work than Earthquake here. Ice Beam into Garchomp is enough to take it out at that range, even if it were Assault Vest. It just had taken too much damage from Crocodile's Earthquake.
Yeah, Garchomp is a pretty bulky Pokemon, but not enough to take a 4 times weak Ice Beam. So we do see Jake just take that first game, but I think if you're Justin, you walk away with that game thinking, alright, so maybe I should stop Earthquaking my own Pokemon, but he now has some good information.
He does have some good information, so he knows that the Crocodile isn't going to go down so easily to just one Dazzling Gleam. And that Tailwind was very instrumental in pressuring Jake and forcing him into a corner so that he only had to rely on Golduck. But as you said, maybe my best plan is to not Earthquake myself. And we'll see what kind of adjustments Justin makes here in Game 2.
Absolutely. Jake's use of that Golduck last time was just so well done. Because if he knew he needed to preserve that Golduck past those Tailwind turns to really be able to pull that game back, and he played to his win condition.
Yeah, and it's cool to see Crocodile come out. All we saw it do was use Earthquake, so we still aren't super sure on its set, but judging on how Justin played around it, it's not too far out of the left field to suggest that the Crocodile is wearing a choice scarf.
Yeah, but we shall see what these players are able to do with this new information that they got from last game.
Alright, and they're heading into game 2. This one is a possibly winning game for Jake, and it's one of the games for Justin to stay alive and have a shot at the trophy.
Yeah, it's always exhilarating playing from both ends of this, because if you're playing from the advantage, you're like, just one more game and I win. And if you're playing from disadvantage, just one more game and I have another chance. But we see Jake go ahead and lead off with his with his Pelipper and his Alolan Mach.
Meanwhile, Justin is going to lead with Whimsicott and Tapu Fini. And again, more of these dark types really putting a damper on Justin's day, just like that rain. Whimsicott really is not going to be able to do so much here against the Alolan Mach, and Alolan Mach is really putting the pressure onto both of these Pokemon.
Yeah, it probably doesn't want to take a super powerful Twinkle Tackle, but I mean, if you're able to get off a Poison Jab and do a good amount of damage, I don't know if I can really argue with that.
Justin going to swap his Tapu Fini out to Garchomp in response to this Mach, as Whimsicott going to go ahead and protect itself here.
As we do see that Pelipper just going right for that Tailwind.
And Mach Poison Jabbing into the Whimsicott, so kind of a dead turn there, but at least Jake got that Tailwind set up. He will have to watch out for Encore though, as Whimsicott can definitely just lock it into Tailwind and have no regrets there.
Yeah, so right now if you're Jake, you're thinking, well, I got the Tailwind up, but my Mach is already pretty slow. I might get Encored. So, I mean, yeah, you got the Tailwind up, but really, what is that doing for you currently?
Yeah, Jake will have to reorganize which Pokemon are on the field. Actually, Jake decides to stay in and risk the Encore turn as Justin sets up his own Tailwind as Hurricane goes right into that Garchomp here.
Doing a good amount of damage with that crit.
Critical hit. With that amount of damage, though, it's definitely an Assault Vest set.
Oh, absolutely.
Earthquake going to come out, do so much damage, but not enough for the one-hit knockout. Mach is going to eat that berry happily.
Heal up a good amount of HP. And then it just goes for that Poison Jab into the Whimsicott.
And that is a Pokemon down for Justin and a lot of damage put onto that Garchomp. Perhaps too much damage. Definitely could have taken it a little bit better without that critical hit. But thankfully, with the Misty Terrain, there is no confusion side effect there.
So right now, I really think that Alolan Mach is going to be pretty threatened by the mons that are out here, and as well as his Pelipper being threatened by the potential for the electric move.
But we also have to remember that Justin shouldn't Earthquake his own Pokemon, right?
As always.
Yeah, so Mach could be able to stay around for another turn or two, depending on how Justin wants to play with Tapu Koko and Garchomp. Pelipper still has that Sash intact, and throwing out those moves, I think a Brine might be able to take out the Garchomp here.
As we see the Tapu Koko actually just go for a Discharge here.
Gonna do so much damage. Knock Pelipper down to the Focus Sash. No paralysis though, as it takes a bit of Life Orb. And here is Brick Break.
Always a fun move to see, and as it is able to pick up the KO onto that Mach.
And here is Brine onto the Garchomp. That's enough for a knockout, thanks to Brine's multiplier. When a Pokemon is under half of its health, it just does so much damage in the rain.
Yeah, it's always rough running into that, because you sometimes see Scald, you sometimes see Brine, so it really makes it hard to think, alright, well, based on his team comp, what does he run in? So it's always one of those things where you have to consider it, but I think in that position he was in a bad spot either way.
And now Justin back down to his two last Pokemon, and without an Electric Train to back up his Tapu Koko, its damage output was going to be a little limited here. And Tailwind is still up for both players, so Golduck here is in a fantastic position to just throw the Z move out.
Yeah, good amount of damage into that Tapu Koko, so then a Scald will have to take it Or if you're feeling risky, just go for another move. And maybe save that for next turn.
Justin really struggling here to think about what he wants to do. There's the protect from Tapu Koko. I think that was a bit necessary here to avoid getting dunked by this Hydro Vortex.
Absolutely. Sometimes you don't want to get the swirly. But all right, so let's see who he goes into here.
All right, and that is the Tapu Koko. So it's going to take a bit of damage to that protect. Not going to be enough for the knockout, of course. Still doing a hefty amount.
That's a good amount of damage here, as we see that Tapu Fini just going for the Muddy Water. Muddy Water accuracy drops could come into play here.
No accuracy drop here, but Tapu Koko on Justin's side now playing with Tailwind his last turn, and Jake only having one more turn of Rain left also means that Golduck is just not going to be able to outspeed Tapu Koko anymore.
Yeah, so right now I think we might see Jake go for a double protect to stall out another turn of Tailwind here. Because I think if he's able to make it so, even if it's the Tapu Koko versus Justin's Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini, I think Jake will be able to do some finagling and be able to pull it out here maybe.
Alright, we'll see what both players do, but Jake is locked in already. He knows what he wants to do here. But yeah, Jake has been taking a commanding lead here with his dark types and his threat of Sarina. Whimsicott really can't do a whole lot to face him.
Yeah, so right now we actually just see that he goes right for the Thunderbolt, no protects here.
Alright, and Golduck goes down. So here, this is interesting because Muddy Water in the rain, boosted by presumably a choice specs, should just be enough to just take it out.
Yeah,
if
I'm Jake, I'm not very happy with how I played that endgame right now.
Yeah, double protect there definitely was a little more appealing, I think, than simply just losing my last two Pokemon to Tailwind boosted Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, that was the last turn of Tailwind, correct?
Right.
I wasn't counting rain turns, so maybe that was...
I think that was also the last turn of rain as well. So if Jake had waited one more turn, he would have had the Tapu Koko and the Golduck, if he had protected the Golduck as well, waiting out of rain to hit Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini.
I think I would have preferred that situation personally, but as we do see, we head into a Game 3.
Yeah, another play he could have done there was to protect Golduck and let the Muddy Water stay spread damage, so that way he can still throw out a Thunder if he wanted to do so and get the KO that way. But, you know, it's all in the past, and it's time for Jake to move on to Game 3. He has to assess what he can do to avoid that endgame from happening again.
Yeah, so that was a rough endgame right there. Jake had such a commanding lead throughout most of that game, but he really just wasn't able to seal it up properly. So I think we could probably see something similar again, because I think he played well for that game through most of it, but it's just that kind of fell apart at the end. So I think if Jake's able to play the same way he did throughout the first part of the game, I think he'll be in a good position again.
Yeah, interesting to note is that Jake did not bring Crocodile this time, instead opting for the Muck. But I don't know, I think Crocodile was pretty good in the first game.
Yeah, maybe adjusting, thinking, my opponent might not continue to Earthquake into himself, so I don't really want to be able to stay on here. So I think we could see that Crocodile actually come back here maybe, because I really do think it was one of the key parts of that first victory.
Alright, and they're into Game 3. This is the last game of this tournament. Who will be the victor that takes it all?
Alright, as we see Justin lead with the Tapu Fini and Whimsicott.
As Jake leads with Pelipper and Muck, same as Game 2. And if it's going to go exactly the same as Game 2, then Jake might want to reassess which target he hits.
Yeah, so right now, if he thinks about last game, I believe the Fini just switched out and the Whimsicott got protected, so maybe knowing that information of how Justin likes to play this, maybe he's going to make a nice switch up here. I also think that we might see Justin actually predicting the prediction, just go right out for the Specs Muddy Water, or presumably Specs Muddy Water.
And here's the protect from Whimsicott once more. And Tapu Fini is going to throw out Muddy Water. No misses here. Going to connect on both of Jake's Pokemon for some big rain boosted damage.
Oh, that does so much damage.
And
That's
an accuracy
crazy.
drop on the Pelipper. But that's kind of inconsequential if Pelipper went for the Hurricane here.
Yeah, as Muck does get its Figgy Berry proc, so going back up to full health, but he did lose his berry first turn.
Here comes the Poison Jab, correctly assessing that Whimsicott would be protecting that turn and getting up a Tailwind. So Pelipper here putting in some work despite not doing any damage, making sure that Muck has a chance to outspeed the Tapu Fini now in Tailwind and get off some big damage and prevent itself from getting hit with another Muddy Water.
Yeah, so right now, I think if you're Jake, you're thinking, he didn't encore me the first game. Maybe he doesn't have it, or maybe he doesn't like hitting it. So maybe he stays in here and goes for the Hurricane. And then that's also something Justin has to once again think about. Can I also just encore? As we do see him go for it.
And yeah, Pelipper locked into Tailwind. That is not something Jake wants to be seeing at this point in time. And Muck is not fast enough to take care of Tapu Fini before it moves, so Jake is going to lose that Pelipper.
And that Muck is not doing too good right now with an accuracy drop too.
Alright, Jake throws the Poison Jab out, but misses the Whimsicott thanks to that accuracy drop. So Justin, despite having not changed his game plan very much from Game 2, looks to be taking the lead here. Jake is going to bring in Sarina, the first appearance.
Yeah, definitely, at least on today.
It'll be interesting to see what it can do. It's definitely threatening Tapu Fini. Alolan Muck is pretty safe to throw at an attack this turn, but I would say that the Whimsicott could definitely just throw up Tailwind and be done with it, right?
Yeah. So right now, I think if you're Justin, you're pretty happy with how you played those first turns, because really, Jake got all of his momentum in the first couple of turns last time. So now you've kind of replayed that, but now you also did it back in your favor.
Here comes the feint. I'm not sure about that play since the Tapu Fini is still alive. It's going to miss Muddy Water on the Sarina, but Muck is taking that to the grave.
Yeah, I think if I'm Jake, I think I really would have wanted to hit Trop Kick there if I did bring it.
And Golduck is the last Pokemon here, but with a numbered turns of Rain and Tailwind left, and Tapu Fini still alive and kicking, it's difficult to think that Jake can pull this out. But
Yeah.
of course, with Sarina, Whimsicott is definitely a dead slot here, so...
So we just see the Whimsicott go for a Tailwind, doing its only thing it can probably do right now. As we see,
Here comes an
Golduck
Ice
with
Beam.
the Ice Beam.
doing a lot of damage, but not enough to KO. Trop Kick gonna go into the Tapu Fini for a knockout.
Alright, so right now, if you're Justin, I think you're sitting pretty well. Because the Golduck, its numbers of rain turns is limited. You have a Whimsicott that just set up the Tailwind.
Alright, Electric Surge is gonna set up that terrain, but Nature Power is still not able to be used here because of that Queenly Majesty. And Jake did reveal a move that was very important, that feint. So this Tapu Koko is not safe from Hydro Vortex.
Yeah, that Queenly Majesty here is really going to be paying dividends, making sure that that Whimsicott is not able to go for any of its priority moves. And I really think that in this Game 3, that was a very good adjustment for Jake to make.
Justin does have Tailwind available though, so this Discharge is just going to go off for free and take Golduck right out.
Yeah, it's looking like this is not going to be going good for Jake here with the paralysis onto that Sarina, but I don't think that's going to matter too much at this point.
And Sarina gonna get that full para, not gonna be able to kick its way to victory today.
Alright, so right now I think if you're Justin, you pretty much have the game wrapped up as you do have your Garchomp in the back.
Yeah, very crucial time to throw out the Tailwind for Justin right as soon as Jake's ended. And taking advantage of that early Tailwind setup here. And Jake not taking care of Tapu Fini quick enough to really have enough tools near the end to take care of Justin's Pokemon.
Yeah, so Jake thought that Justin was going to play that game the same way he did last time, but I think Justin made very good adjustments, and obviously it worked out for him.
Yeah, so congratulations to Justin, our very first mid-season of the season. Mid-season of the season?
Mid-season showdown winner of this year,
Yeah,
I guess?
that's a little better.
Yeah.
He will be taking home a wonderful trophy, and I think free entry to the next one. And so Jake will also be getting a trophy. No? Only first? Okay, so only first. I've gotten sick details that's only first. So he will not be getting a second trophy that he can pair with his first one, but he still will be getting free entry? Yeah. To the next mid-season showdown. So, thank you guys all for watching, and I think if the Brooklyn PC is still going on,